going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Viall Files Going Deeper edition. I'm your host, Nick, joined by the fantastic trio of Allie, Amanda, and Derek. How's everyone doing? What's going on?
I feel like this is the closest I've gotten to like being an athlete that gets announced over the loudspeaker.
Oh, like starting
yeah,
at
exactly.
the forward position.
Yeah.
She's rough around the edge.
Oh, God. If you were a baseball player, what would your walk-on music be?
Is there signature songs for each of them?
Every baseball player has a
they have like a walk-on song.
Yeah, they get to pick it.
The closest thing I had to that was at a Soul Cycle class for my birthday. The first song was my personal anthem. Do you remember what it was, Amanda?
It was High School Musical.
It was High School Musical.
Okay, that tracks.
Thank you, Diego.
Everyone good? How's everyone's heart?
How's everyone's heart? Derek, how's your heart?
My heart feels fuller now that we got called a trio instead of you guys just being a duo. That's a big step.
Yeah.
That's a big
Do we have
move.
a sound effect?
I just did it. You want better than that?
Derek's heart is full.
Yeah.
How's yours?
As normal as ever.
So
Excuse me. I think I have a
you
date
have
tomorrow
more of a
night.
pessimistic heart.
I think I have
A
a date tomorrow
protected
night
heart.
unless I cancel it.
A more heavily protected heart. Wait, who's your date with?
I don't know. Some random Hinge person.
Okay.
I haven't even moved him out of the Hinge DMs at this point. Our date is tomorrow.
What's the potential scheduled date? We don't even know. No plans?
Well, we might go get drinks somewhere in our neighborhood. We live very close to each other. He is the type of person I've noticed in his profile. I think he looks very, there's certain people who just look very different in every photo, just based on lighting,
He has
outfit.
he has different.
I just feel like he looks different in different
Interesting.
photos.
Mm.
But we did like a little video date. I told you I was going to use the Hinge feature, the video chat in the Hinge.
Yeah.
I did that.
You did. With
How did
this
it
guy?
go?
Mm-hmm. It was
You kind of had a
fine.
date.
Kind of. Yeah. It wasn't like
How did he? In the video, did he look? Which picture did he look like? His best or his worst?
I don't know if they're better or worse per se. I just think he looks a little different in all
But
of
his
them.
video.
I mean, it was clearly him. It wasn't
But
like
now
wow,
you know. Now you
jump
know what he
scare.
looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you feeling hopeful?
Nah, apparently not. She's not sure if she's gonna go.
I'm just I just don't know how our day is going to end up. We have busy days,
This is right after Better Date Than Never.
I guess.
Yeah, speaking of, we have another episode of Better Date Than Never tonight, and we don't know if Allie will be on a date tonight. We're recording this the day before, so be sure to check that out. Everyone's loving it. It's a lot of fun. It's turning into kind of a sex and dating show.
And like real sex talk, not just like surface level stuff, but the actual kinds of things that you like want.
We're good into
Sometimes
it. Yeah.
don't feel comfortable sharing with people.
Like put your headphones in if
I
you're
smoked a
with
little
your
weed
parents.
last week.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it again. Getting loose on the show or drinking alcohol. Like, have a good time with us. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. It's wild stuff.
Goddamn party.
We have an amazing episode with Francesca Farago today. Next week on the Bachelor recap, Artem Miram will be helping us recap The Bachelor. We also have Lala Kent from Vanderpump Rules next week on Going Deeper. So you won't want to miss that.
update episode.
Oh, yeah, the update episode is tomorrow. Thanks for reminding us, Derek. You can just let the people know.
Yeah, so we have a very exciting update episode tomorrow. We know you guys love getting all the updates of the callers, and we've been really trying to follow the storylines of everyone. So we want to give you guys the relevant updates. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, we're going to get more and more real-time updates.
And follow-ups, ongoing
following the
things.
stories. This would be great. We know you guys love the updates. So be sure to check that out tomorrow and much more to come. So be looking out for all of that. We also have a big announcement on the update episode regarding the show. So don't miss that. If nothing else, we will open up within the first 5 minutes of a big announcement. Anyway, Amanda, what else do we have to cover before we get to Francesca?
Oh, well, there is also the Megan Fox. Speaking of follow-ups, Megan Fox has returned to Instagram.
Welcome back.
Welcome. We missed you dearly. We saved a seat for you, Megan. Please come on in. So she released, right now, the only post that she has up is a notes statement. And it says, there has been no third-party interference in this relationship of any kind. That includes, but is not limited to, actual humans, DMs, AI bots, or succubus demons. Well, I do hate to rob you of running random baseless news stories that would have gotten much more accurately written by ChatGPT. You need to let this story die and leave all of these innocent people alone now. And then she's also made statements because there's been a lot of speculation about like MGK cheating with one of his guitarists. Sophie something has the last name. And she's like, she's very talented and like basically like leave her out of this. Like, don't fall into that trap of kind of like discrediting this like female musician.
Listen, I love all of this, and Megan is more than entitled to her privacy and her personal life despite being a public figure. I just like, why do what she did? Like, she created she shined the light on the situation.
It's like standing up on a restaurant table and like stomping your feet in the middle of dinner and then being like, why is everybody looking at me?
Yeah, there's a little bit of that energy, you know? And listen, whatever she is going through, maybe she was in a state of trauma or panic and hurt and pain, and that's how she responded, only to be like, oh, fuck. I made a bad situation even worse. And again, she's still, regardless, entitled to that privacy. But maybe in the future, she like won't like delete everything.
Go nuclear.
Quite
so quickly.
And when you're planning on asking for privacy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, another bad situation that's been unfolding has been, have you been following like the Brooklyn Pelts?
A little bit. The
Pelts? I say, whenever there's three consonants in a row.
It's the Beckham wedding.
Yeah. The Beckham wedding. So there's two suits going on right now. They sued two wedding planners who were only there for 9 days as planners because of the work conditions. And then those
work conditions?
So they referred to the father
of the bride?
They refer to the father of the bride as a billionaire bully. And so they were saying there was like a ton of drama about the celebrity guest list, like basically that these were like obscene work conditions.
And they're releasing text messages because now with this being some sort of lawsuit, these are becoming public records.
Yes.
Nelson, who's the father of the bride, accused the wedding planners of not returning a $159,000 deposit.
Okay.
And then the two wedding planners filed a countersuit because of the work conditions, calling him a billionaire bully and seeking damages for breach of contract, which I'm assuming goes hand in hand with what they experienced. And they claim that his family put them through wedding planning hell, which if you're a wedding planner, I think you're already used to a certain level of awful clients.
Your tolerance is high.
Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, I get you don't become a billionaire by giving away free money, and $160,000 is certainly a substantial amount of money to anyone but a billionaire, I suppose. But to a billionaire, it's about a nickel, so to speak.
Yeah.
Give or take.
You have to assume the ego around money, though, for billionaires is really high, where it's like, nobody fucks me over.
So much that you're willing to make a public spectacle
of your child's wedding.
Of your kid's wedding, which is clearly going to get all this attention. And, you know, because we're talking about royal invites and major celebrities, yada, yada, yada. And for what? For amount of money that couldn't be more insignificant to you?
It's a huge bummer. It's also like, it's crazy because the dad also accused them. He accused Grijalba of having a drinking problem. And he cited a text that she sent.
And then that's one of the wedding planners?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he accused one of the wedding planners of having a drinking problem and cited a text that she sent to the bride that said, "Now I'm going for a tequila. My head is about to explode." And the bride responded, "Yes, queen!" several exclamation points.
I don't think someone grabbing a tequila is a drinking problem. Yeah. Speaking also, from personal experience.
I don't think he's in a position to...
Also, they got pulled in
if you went on a weekend
weeks
bender,
before the wedding. They got pulled into one of the biggest weddings in pop culture 6 weeks beforehand because the original wedding planner fell through. Already huge issue. And they quit after 9 days. Or they stopped planning it after 9 days. Clearly, nightmare. Everyone was probably needing a margarita.
If you're Brooklyn Beckham, does this worry you a little bit about like the family you married into and the type of fight you might be in when you don't get along with your wife? I don't know. Ooh.
That's a good point.
They were working 17-hour days to meet the Peltz's demands, which included making the flower bouquets whiter. How do you make a flower? Okay. And creating a water dance floor. Like those were some of the demands. I'm sorry, but if you lose your wedding planner 6 weeks before, I think I'd just be grateful that anyone is like picking it up.
To your point, I wonder if like Brooklyn is kind of like, well, my family's pretty unique. I've grown up with the media circus with all the, I wonder if he sort of has this sense of I can take it. Whatever it is probably not crazier than the shit I have going on, but I don't know that he's right about that.
Do you know why he probably needs the $159,000? Because they spent upwards on that for hair and makeup. And apparently the mother of the bride asked the wedding planners not to tell the father of the bride that they'd paid more than $100K for hair and makeup.
Oh my God. That's the classic, like, hide one of the shopping bags in the car.
I don't know how to interpret this story any way other than father of the bride sucks.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's clear, like, just more money than God has lost touch with reality. Another kind of like controversial money topic is that Patrick Mahomes, Mazel Tov on the recent ring, and Brittany Matthews, his wife, had their 2-year-old daughter was celebrating a birthday, and they gave her a $500K Chanel bag as a birthday gift.
$500K? $500,000?
Sorry, no, 5,000, $5K.
Okay.
Still ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. You know, he's super rich. It's meaningless in the context of, like, you can spend your money on whatever you want, and I'm sure they've wasted
far more doing far less.
Yes, you know. But if this is a sign of how they plan on raising their child and setting expectation of the type of gifts she can come to expect, she might not handle disappointment very well in the future. There is that.
Right. Do we think... Because my first thought was like, are you kidding me? She's 2 years old. She doesn't even understand it. But that now I'm like, well, maybe it's actually a little bit better to be doing this, like to give a $500K bag to a 5K bag to a 2-year-old versus like a 12-year-old.
Well, the big question is do they the child's 2 now, so it doesn't really matter. But if this continues, do they relay the message to the child of the value of the purse and why it's special? Which I think would be a mistake.
Yeah.
Because as far as the kid knows, it's just like...
This is a bag.
It's a bag. Like, whatever. What's the fucking difference?
Yeah, it's like you're just going to put bubbles and
some action figures in it. But the moment you start, like, saying, this is really special, and this is valuable, and this is why this is more important than that, and this is, and that's when you have a spoiled monster on your hands.
Yeah. And, ugh.
I think there's far more risks. My kids will know disappointment. That's all I know.
I bet they will. I bet you will be such a stickler. I bet you will pick one thing and you'll be like, that is the battle I will choose constantly. And it will be like a real, like,
we live in a world where people aren't learning how to be disappointed or learning about rejection and learning about like figuring, fighting through adversity or earning the things you want rather than expecting the things you want. Yeah, I do think there's a shit ton of that going around in our world these days. And if I'm lucky enough to become a father, I hope that I can do the opposite.
It's so true because I think so. I spend a lot of time thinking about hypothetical parenting scenarios, and I think so much about how hard it would be for me to not intervene if my child was having a rough time or was having conflict, was in whatever situation, just like really struggling. And for a while I would be so panicked about that. But I was talking to my mom, and there was a point in time when like I was just like had mad undiagnosed learning disabilities and was like having a hard time in school, which hadn't happened before. And I was like, were you worried about me? Like, how did you like let me kind of like eat shit academically for so long? Like with like, it must have been so hard for you. And she was like, yeah, you were a phenomenal athlete. Like I knew as long as your kid has certain areas where they're thriving that are like continuing to develop their self-esteem, it's really good for them to have some areas that are like a struggle and a challenge.
Yeah, figure it out.
That blew my mind. I don't have a Segway.
You don't need one.
Well, but I guess you know where people ride Segways? Disneyland. And you know where Rebel Wilson got engaged to her girlfriend Ramona? Disneyland.
Really?
Yes. So shout out to the happy couple. What do we think?
There
Disneyland?
are people who love Disney and there are people who hate Disney, and there's no in between. And clearly Rebel Wilson is someone who loves Disney. And for all the people who get engaged at Disney, it makes sense to those people. That much I have learned. And if you're not one of those people, you don't get it.
Some people get married at Disney World.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And she might.
I doubt it.
But if she does, I wouldn't be shocked. Because it's truly like a magical place for the people who love it.
Okay, warm take, not quite hot. Disneyland is the same thing as music festivals for more wholesome adults.
Yeah, maybe. Do you think they're doing Molly?
Last thing that I wanted to just bring up and see where you guys fall, just a fun little tidbit, is have you seen the spoon thing on TikTok?
No.
So basically...
Have you seen the teenage filter? I'm obsessed.
What?
It's a bunch of like, people 40 and over who the teenage filter, and it shows you your teenage self, and it's super accurate and super crazy. And then you have a bunch of like older people having this kind of like, it takes them back in time. It's like really beautiful.
It's the opposite of the old face?
Yeah. And it's like this really sweet and endearing moment. They're like, look at, I miss you. And like people talking to the young themselves and like, I wish I was kinder. It's a really, it's so sweet and wonderful. Like if you haven't, if you're on TikTok and you haven't seen the teenage filter trend, it will make you, it'll get you in your feels.
Your heart will swell.
Your heart will swell. Check it out. All right, what's the spoon thing?
So this is just, there's 2 spoons.
Okay.
Slightly different. You can see the curvature, the angles, etc. And it's just which spoon would you pick? And it has sparked so much
easy.
discourse.
The one on the right.
Mm-mm.
The one on the right.
One on the
for
left.
Sure.
I'm one on the right as well.
One on the left.
Why?
Because it's like more symmetrical. I have one spoon.
I like the frame around it.
No.
Wow, it has 886,000 likes.
Millions of views.
Millions.
Do you want to check? Is that exact?
Like, are you the type of person, if you had a
11.7?
If you had a purely circle spoon, you'd still pick the one on the right? The left one's like
I'm looking at
to a
I'm looking
circle.
at the handle. I'm not even looking at the head. So
I'm looking at the head, and what I gotta say about the tip.
It seems the tip of this head. It seems too
the
wide.
angle is too much.
Like I have to open up my mouth too much.
Yes, and also like it would like the roof of your mouth would be more afflicted.
Also, as far as spoons, as the worst spoons, Wendy's plastic spoons. The cup of the head is too deep.
Mm-mm.
You can't have too deep of a cup.
Bigger room for Frosties.
Yeah, but when you pull it, there's still you get debris left behind.
No, give me the circles all day, every day. Give me those deep
right
trenches.
Derek, which spoon did you gravitate towards?
I want my utensils to be like surgical,
So one on the right.
Say
So
more
the one
about
on the
that.
right.
The one on the right looks more surgical.
It's like I don't want like something too big or like, you know
Fine.
what I mean?
I'll quit now.
I want to know exactly what I'm doing,
No, it's deeply. Nobody can be right about this. It's
if you like a
deeply
vegetable
intuitive.
noodle soup, then maybe the one on the left, you might get more like, carrots and celery with each bite.
Yeah.
Or even like a tomato soup where it's like thin, so you need more of like a well to catch
The left might be better for soup, but everything else.
Got to be the right.
Yeah, I love a good soup spoon because they're more symmetrical. Like the circle ones.
That's when I'll know I've made it, is when I have
You like the
specific soup spoons.
Yeah.
Well, just like that's what they're like labeled. I don't have my own, but I do have one that I like someone left at my apartment in college, and I moved it to LA with me because it's a perfect circle.
That's awesome.
94,000 comments. Wild stuff. All right. Well, again, don't forget, another episode of Better Date Than Never starts tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. Check it out. Go to our socials for the links to the show. I hope to see you there. It's a ton of fun. Bring your friends. Bring your drinks.
Get raunchy with us.
Get raunchy with us.
The chat was blowing up. You will find community.
We basically spent a whole hour like responding to people's unhinged comments. It's hilarious. Let's get to Francesca. Francesca,
Nick.
welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. How's your heart?
Like been better, I think.
Been better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like my love life's amazing, but
Sure.
yeah.
But like currently you're kind of going through, it's that weird world for the people who film reality TV, and then there's that kind of holding period, and then you know what happens.
Yeah.
But you don't know what's going to be shown.
Yeah.
How it's going to be shown.
Yeah.
The music's that it's going to be shown with.
Yeah.
And how it's going to be received.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of going through that experience of finding that all out.
Finding it all out. Yeah.
What's that been like?
After Too Hot to Handle, I learned to not stress myself out before the show comes out, because you can be stressed so much about a scene that won't even be shown.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to bother to worry about things, because you never know how it's going to be edited together or
Sure.
what's going to be shown, what's not going to be shown. So I went into it very open-minded, and I was like, oh, I'm actually not too stressed. I know what I did. I know what I said. And as long as both sides of me are shown, then I think what I was planning to do when I went there will be like perceived well by everyone. But after learning about the episodes and seeing things, I'm like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. But I think it is what it is. You know, I kind of just have to ignore it.
So when you left the show, you have a big personality, a sharp tongue, you're smart and witty and snarky and edgy.
Edgy.
So what were you hoping how were you hoping the audience would receive you, given what you knew to be true when you recorded the show?
I was assuming that it would be more of like an genuine, honest, tell it how it is, kind of very likable villain was what I was going for, and why I went. I knew that there was going to be some comments that some people wouldn't be happy with, but I thought generally overall how I was when I was filming, I was like, as long as they show certain things, then people are going to perceive me well. Yeah. But obviously I didn't get to pick what was shown and what wasn't shown, so.
Likable villain's tough. I would say that's the toughest role to accomplish because it requires a partnership.
Yeah, I think I was going for likable villain, and I think the likable was kind of taken out. So now it's just villain, which is not what I was going for. But I mean, there's nothing I can do about it now. So.
Sure. Well, I'll be honest. When I watched it, there were a handful of moments where I was just like, "Ooh, Francesca, fuck," So maybe we could just kind of go through some of those moments.
Okay.
And I'll kind of give you my read on it, and then I would love to know what was your intention and what would you do differently, given like how it seemed to affect other people. Because like that's the thing. I think sometimes we go on these shows, and I think it's like it is a TV show, right? But it's this weird TV show that's real-ish, right? Mm-hmm. Because like everyone with social media and the things that can come from being a character and a successful character and a star on the show, like comes opportunity. And yet these environments are structured to create real emotions and feelings, and two things can be true at the same time, where you can be like, yeah, I mean, like I'm filming a TV show, but holy shit, I think I like this person. Mm-hmm. You literally got engaged the first time. Yeah. And I'm assuming there was some genuineness
100%.
In that relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
And yet, I'm sure at times on Too Hot to Handle, you're like, fuck it, it's a TV show, I'll say some shit.
I think I was more like that on Perfect Match. Like Too Hot to Handle, I was definitely more emotional.
Sure.
And I regretted it after. And I was like, I wish I just had less emotions in it because of like the 2 years after that it took me to get over everything. So I think going into Perfect Match, I was more guarded, mm-hmm. and I was more like, all right, fuck it. I'm just gonna, do what I have to do to like be funny and create relationships, but I'm gonna stay with my guard up because of what happened on Too Hot to Handle. I was like scared for it to happen again.
Yeah. I feel like, I think that's the problem sometimes when you return to these shows, too much.
Yeah.
Ignorance is really bliss because you can truly just be your most authentic self.
Yeah.
As much as you can in these kind of crazy worlds. But when we have experience, you kind of over edit yourself, or you try to be funny, or you try to be the lovable villain and things like that. And that's where they kind of get you.
Yeah. I think as well, like being in that show with everyone else who had been on a reality show, there was like maybe two people that were kind of new to the universe that their shows hadn't come out yet, but everyone else was like experienced. So everyone knew what they were doing.
The first moment where I was like, Francesca, what the fuck, was when you got in a fight with Savannah, mm-hmm. when she made a move on Dom. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I'm thinking, you had the upper hand. Mm-hmm. You had the relationship with Dom, and she was trying to swerve on you. Mm-hmm. So like here you have the upper hand, and I'm thinking all you had to do was like kill her with kindness, and then like, hey, I just want to be real with you. Like, I've been like hanging out with Dom, and I like him, and I hear you like you made a move, and like you can do whatever you want, but like you hurt my feelings.
Yep.
And instead, you kind of mean girled her.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it came across.
That approach would have been a smarter approach.
Sure.
Of course. I think there was a lot of buildup leading up to that. A lot of buildup that didn't make the edit. And it was like days on end of like, I felt personally bullied by her the whole time. And everyone else was agreeing with me. So there was like a full storyline that wasn't shown about why I didn't.
What was that? We'd love to hear what wasn't shown.
That she had a boyfriend. so, during filming. So everyone knew she had to go home, and it was the buildup. So I knew she was just going after Dom to just spite me. So I took like 5 tequila shots and I was like, let's go, let's do this. And everyone was amping me up to have the conversation. I was very pushed to do it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I sat down and I just word vomited, I think. And I definitely don't talk like that in my real life. And I don't know why I said certain things. And I watched a little bit of it back and I was like, what am I even saying? Like, it didn't even really make any sense. Like, I didn't even have a formulated argument. Like, I should have just thought about it before.
Yeah, you definitely were just trying to throw punches. So to speak.
But I was like really upset with who that person was. And I still definitely, something like really irks me about this person. So
when you say this person, Savannah?
Yeah, I just don't like saying her name.
Okay. Can I say her name?
Yeah, you can say her name.
You don't have to say her name. She can be Voldemort.
I mean, yeah.
You can call her Voldemort.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't. There was like days of build up to this, and I knew she didn't have good intentions, and I knew she had a boyfriend, and I was like, what are you even doing? You're trying to start drama. But good for her. Like, she is attached to me, and that's like her one claim to fame right now. So now she's off, and we don't ever have to speak about her ever again. So
okay.
Yeah.
But so your friend's pushing you to kind of confront her. Is that where that line where you said, and like it didn't help you out, but it was also kind of funny. You're like, well, if you stay, like all my friends are gonna hate you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't even know why I said that.
It was kind of great.
I thought it was. I think it's because like
it definitely didn't help you out because that came across as very kind of mean girl and bully, very high school kind of approach.
I remember I had confrontations on other like Love is Blind and Too Hot to Handle. There was other confrontations where I was very chilled and I didn't say anything when people were confronting me or doing something, and I was like, okay, if I ever have that again, I'm gonna actually say something. And I just realized I'm just bad with confrontation. Like, I'm not confrontational at all, even though I really seem like it in that scene. So when it comes up, I just don't handle it properly, I don't think. Going back, I would have just not even bothered because she's not even worth my time at all.
Okay.
I would have just like let her go home and that would have been it.
And she did.
Yeah.
She quickly
yeah, but she got
afterwards.
that little bit of relevance on her way out, so shouldn't have given that to her.
If she's not relevant in general,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of your castmates, which ones did you feel like were maybe more coming from this landscape of like strategic, and which ones did you think were much more in the kind of like, I'm genuinely looking to see if I can find a romantic connection here?
I think Carousel was genuine with what she was finding with Joey. Was Joey genuine? I would probably say no, but
What the fuck?
what?
Joey.
Yeah. I mean, I know stuff
Explain. Like,
I know what happened after. I know everything. So, because me and Carousel are really, really close. So.
But Joey kind of mentioned that you and Joey had a.
Oh yeah,
crash.
no, he made that seem way more what it was than it wasn't. That like didn't even count. And the fact that he kept bringing it up to make it look like a thing, I'm like, notice how I didn't mention it once because I was like, I'm just gonna pretend that never happened. And he like made it such a thing. I'm like, you're gross. Like, stop.
This was a quote while watching the show from someone in the room while watching Perfect Match about Joey. And the quote was, he is repulsive in every way that you can be repulsive.
Yeah, it was a dark time.
It was a dark time.
It was one time.
We all have stains on our resumes.
Yeah, one time, 4 a.m, I was depressed because of Harry, and I was like, whatever. And I regretted it, and I instantly cut it off and never talked to him again. And then he did some shady shit, so I didn't like him. And then he's going around.
What did he do?
He just went up to someone and was, I don't really want to get into it. It was just shady, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just teasing. Like I said, we all have stains on our resume.
Yeah, so that's a bad stain.
It's a, yeah. It's a stain.
Yeah. Oh, well. Live and learn.
What are you going to do? Dom, on the other hand,
yep.
Very sexy.
Yeah, very attractive.
Very sexy guy. What's up with that? What was up with that relationship? Because Dom, fan favorite. I really liked him. Also, sexy crier.
Yeah.
I wish I could cry like him.
Yeah, he does have a nice crying face.
He has a nice cry.
Yeah.
It's a good crying face. But he seemed genuinely into you.
Yeah.
And it very much came across as you used him to wait for Damien. That's how that came across.
Yeah.
Is that what happened from your mind? Like how did you and Dom happen? And at what point Because in my experience in this type of world, especially like Perfect Match is essentially Bachelor in Paradise with like without roses.
Bachelor in Paradise meets Love Island.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to people who know each other and alumni, everyone knows who's showing up. They might not know when and shit like that. So when I'm watching, I'm thinking like Francesca knew that Damon was going to show up the whole time. She was just kind of waiting for him. And you even said on the show, it's just like, as soon as I saw him, I knew I was going to go on a date with him. So like from your standpoint, do you feel like you led Dom on a little bit, or is reality not the same from what we saw versus what happened?
I think, well, from day one, Dom was like definitely the best guy in the house. So I was immediately attracted to him and like his style. Like he paints his nails, he dresses really nice. Like he kind of is like more of a gender neutral. Like we went to a premiere and he wore a skirt and I thought that was really sick. So overall the vibes, I really liked his vibes. And then he started to like fall really quickly for me. I love when people are obsessed with me, but I think
that's honest.
It was a lot early on and my energy just wasn't matching it. Like I wasn't as obsessed as he was with me, and he would say certain things like about like our future and stuff like that, and I had only known him for a few days at that point. So I was like, oh wait, maybe that's a little bit too heavy for me right now. And I noticed myself like kind of taking a step back, and knowing I was trying to block out that I knew Damien on the board. I didn't think I was going to bring him in for myself. I thought that someone else would have brought him in, and I didn't know it was going to happen that early. But knowing that was looming over my head was also factoring into me not being able to go full force. And I just knew that I had to like end it and move on so like he could find someone else, because I don't think I could have ever got there. Like we have like a friendship now, we're great friends now, and I think he's amazing, but we didn't have that like romantic
Gotcha.
kind
so
of
it
spark.
wasn't like, it wasn't totally fake.
No.
You genuinely tried to date him.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
totally relatable. Like, you know, he went a little hard to the paint and kind of almost suffocated you with his intensity.
Yeah.
Which tracks with the whole like, I love you after you broke up with him.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we've all been there. We've all kind of said some crazy shit in a very vulnerable state.
I don't think he meant that.
What do you mean?
Like, I think maybe he said that, but I feel like he regrets saying that he loved me.
Well, I would believe that, but in the moment,
in the moment,
I believe he believed it.
Yeah,
and I
maybe.
think, you know, we do that shit, especially
especially
in that environment.
We had only known each other for a few days, though.
Yeah, that environment is made to make you confuse other feelings of intensity with love.
Everything's going on, and you're so obsessed with the idea of like finding someone in that environment. Like when I met my ex, I was so obsessed with the idea of being that love story and like having like a TV show where I could show my kids in the future where I met, you know, their dad.
That's that's a real thing.
Yeah.
You think about, oh, if this works out, what a beautiful way to like show our love to our kids. I had the same fucking feelings.
And you like ignore some red flags because you're like, no, this love story is like one of a kind. Like I need to like make it work.
Totally.
So I think he was like kind of in that mindset as well with his relationship with Georgia.
My least favorite thing you did.
Oh God. There's a lot.
But this is my least favorite thing.
Oh God.
After you and Damien came back.
Okay.
And Georgia saved Dom.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like you weaponized Dom's vulnerability against him and tried to make yourself the victim in a situation you were very much not the victim.
Yeah.
Because you kind of went on and on about how, but he said he told me he loved me and now he's here with Georgia. And like, and as you kind of pointed out now, is like he probably was just showing his emotional immaturity in that state. But you kind of decided to use that vulnerability against him to try to better your position in the house.
I did skim through these scenes a little bit. I didn't watch the whole thing because I was like, that's horrible. I can't even watch this. But there was like full conversations. And so say the conversation would be like, oh, I love the wood. The wood's so amazing. It's so happy with the table, but it makes me a little bit uncomfortable because the table loves me. But like the wood and the table are great, but like I'm uncomfy about, like it was certain things chopped out of the conversation and certain things that were focused on instead. So there was a lot of talk, but literally every single thing that they focused on with me in the whole show, everything that came out of my mouth was like negative. Anything positive that I said chopped out. So even though I
That's
do
easy
agree,
to believe, yeah.
I do agree with you. Like I was salty after, and I don't even know why. I didn't realize, like watching a little bit of it back, I was like, was that even how it happened? Like that's not how I remember it happening. But I did say certain things, and I was like, why did I say that? Like, how did I say that? Like, it must have been such a long thing that I said, and they chopped it up. But yeah, I shouldn't have been so salty. I don't even know why I was. I think I was just trying to be funny, but it didn't come across as funny. It came across as rude. So
Yeah. That's all we can do is recognize our mistakes and
yeah.
and own them. Damien.
Yeah.
I definitely agreed with Dom when he said to you, that guy?
Yeah.
I don't know much about Damien. I didn't watch his season of Love is Blind.
Yeah.
I do. I think you said it. Do you stand by the quote when you said, oh, he was on Love is Blind, so they must be really looking for love? I mean, I know that's an insane environment to participate in Love is Blind, but do you give a genuine right reasons pass to all Love is Blind contestants?
No. Definitely not all.
Okay.
I mean, I've met some of them, and I know some of them definitely were not there for love.
Okay.
But I think Damien was in his season.
Okay.
I did watch his season because it came up before Too Hot to Handle. So I thought he was super genuine. And then when I met him, I was like, this is the nicest guy I've ever met. I think what happened in the reunion was horrible for him. And it's how they portrayed it was not actually how it went down. He did some things that he maybe could have said properly or said in a different way. But there was a lot of stuff in that Love is Blind reunion that was fully taken out that really villainized him.
Sure.
And the Damien that I know was not that villain.
Okay.
So stopped talking to him right after because I was like waiting for an apology. And when I got that apology, I was like, I just gave him like a shot again type thing.
And why did you give him a shot? I was just surprised that you were even interested.
I think when you're in that type of environment and like, so when we went to the filming, we knew the concept of the show. Everyone that was on the show knew it was a dating show. Every single person that was there. We knew it was a dating show. We knew there was a competition element, but we didn't know what it was. So when the rules dropped, I was told that we would not be sharing rooms with men. I was told it would be girls and boys, separate houses. So I was like, perfect, I'll do it. But I'm not going to do it if I'm having to share a room because I had to do it with my ex on a show and I regretted it. So when the rules were dropped that we had to match up and go sleep in the same bed, I bawled my eyes out for like a day. All of that wasn't shown. So I think...
So you really had to spend the night. That was a weird...
I was literally crying. I was like, I can't do this. Like, these guys are just going to try and sleep with me. I don't want to be here. Like,
so you had to hang out all night in these rooms, like
with these people that we didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, because I when I first started watching, I was like, is this really happening? I was like, am I not paying attention? Is like, am I missing a whole scene where they're choosing to go to the bedroom? Because it's like people would match. They would like swerve. It'd be like, hey, I'm going to go from here to here. And then immediately they're walking into a bedroom. Is that what would happen? Is that happening in real? That actually happened that way?
You'd get ushered up right away. Like right when you matched, you'd have to go to your room.
What would happen in these rooms?
Usually like a cameraman would follow you and then would just watch you like either talk or make out if people were making out. But usually people weren't making out.
Did you have to stay there all night?
Yeah, we shared rooms. Yeah. So it was really uncomfy and I didn't want to do it. And that's another reason why I liked Dom because I knew he was like comforting and
that makes
relaxed.
sense.
But because I knew
otherwise you're just spending a night with a fucking stranger.
Yeah. So it was a lot. And I don't think a lot of people were comfortable with it. And a lot of people didn't know that was the fact when they left for filming. And I probably wouldn't have done the show if I knew that was the way that it was going to be done. Because it's just not like I didn't want to be involved in something like that. Like, but I ended up, Dom was so respectful, so I didn't have to worry. And then I knew Damien for like years. So I have a comfort level with him. Like we have a friendship level basis. So when he came in, I just felt like myself. It was like a breath of fresh air. I was like, okay, like I know you. We can do this together. Like I like you. I know we have a connection. So it was just like, I bawled my eyes out for days. I bawled my eyes out on the date with Dom, in the boardroom, the night before, because everyone knew that was what was gonna happen the next day. Like it wasn't a surprise that I went on that date, really. But all the emotional scenes were cut to make me look like a savage, which I was a savage. It was savage of me to do that, but I knew that I would just feel so much better being paired with Damien because I just had that sense of like hominess with him.
Yeah. Would you have handled the conversation with Dom, kind of letting him, like the breakup conversation, the same way?
I didn't watch that.
You didn't. So here's how it kind of came across. Is it was like you didn't give him the hard breakup. You gave him like the soft breakup.
Okay.
which was kind of like, hey, I'm going to kind of go keep hanging out with Damien.
Oh yeah, I remember it actually. I don't think we ever like fully said like it wasn't a full like
It kind of came across as like you were giving him enough bad news that you then wanted him to break up with you so you didn't have to break up with him.
that's not actually how it went down, but from what I remember actually living it, I never actually told him that I wasn't picking him. It just I went to speak to Damien and I don't even remember really what happened. I think then he paired with Georgia or something.
Yeah. That's how it read.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of read like
yeah, like I never
he just assumed.
yeah.
He's
And
like,
you
you can't fire me. I quit.
Well,
yeah,
no,
maybe.
but it almost, to be honest, it sounded like that was your intention. Like you didn't give him
I think it's
a
'cause
direct answer.
I was really undecided up until like the very last
Okay.
second.
I have a general question. This is like less about show and a critique or whatever, but this is more a societal question I'm curious about. When you and Dom were in that room talking about Damien and you kind of like dropped the bomb on him, it's like, I
The
think,
boardroom.
yeah, the boardroom, and you wanted to go out with Damien. Dom's approach was more of a, all right, well, you're your own person,
Mhm.
and obviously I can't stop you, which is
Mhm.
obviously like factually true.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't gonna actually stop you, and he just kind of had this more, I guess, pick me energy. You know, and you're seeing that I think more and more. You see a lot of that in Bachelor Nation from the guys now. Like the guys in the past season started to pivot, and they almost like, whether it's strategic or not, but they were just more going to be the, well, you know, if you don't want, like, they just play the sad boy role all the
Yeah.
time. And this is a question for all the ladies in the room. In that moment, would you have found it to be more attractive for Dom to more assert himself with what he really wanted? And so instead of saying to you, well, you know, I'm sad about it and I don't like this, but like, you know, you're going to go on this date and just let me know when you're done with that date if you still want to be with me, as opposed to him saying, listen, we've spent like the past week together, and in this world, that's a lot. And I've really loved the connection that we built, and I feel strongly about you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're telling me that you don't feel the same and you want to date someone else, like, go do your thing. I respect that. You don't owe me anything, but I don't want any, like, we're good. You know, if you go on a date with if you go on a date with Damien, there's no more us here, because you should know enough about me to know, like, do you want to prioritize me, or do you want to invest in me, or do you want to shop around? Because he basically was like, go shop around and I'll be waiting here. And I'm just wondering, what kind of energy from men do you find more attractive? You know, do you find it attractive for a guy to kind of give you that leash to shop around and treat him and treat himself like an option?
Yeah.
You know, Dom treated himself like an option and not a choice in that moment.
Yeah.
Or would you have found it more attractive for him to be like, I know my worth and I know I'm a catch and we've had a great week and go do your thing, but I'm done if you go.
Yeah. Well, for me, that's how I would have behaved. If roles were reversed and he put himself on a date, I would have ended it, because I have like a very small tolerance for that and I want to be put first no matter what. But it's hard to say, because you want a man who's like secure enough to like let you explore it, and it is a dating show, so you want someone who's going to be like, yeah, go do it, but I'm going to be here and I know I'm a catch, so do your thing, but I'm the catch. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly.
Yeah,
it's like a little bit of both. It's like a thin line. Like, you don't want to be with someone who's too aggressive, but you also don't want to be with someone who's too like a puppy dog.
Yeah, and I don't mean toxic or controlling or in any way imply any type
Just
of
like know their
ownership.
yeah,
it's
know
just
their
more like,
self-worth.
listen, like, make your choice.
Yeah.
But I know my worth.
Yeah.
And I want somebody who chooses me, and I don't want someone who knows after spending an entire week with me in an incredibly tense environment where all we're doing is connecting. If you don't know that by now, then you're just not going to know that. And I'm not going to sit around and wait for you to go date someone and let me know if you still want to pick me after shopping around.
I don't think Dom's like that. I don't think I think now he's like that after everything he's been through. And he's been through a lot, not even with just me. He's been through a lot since the show came out and since we finished filming that don't have to do with me at all. But I think now he's probably going to have more of that energy, because maybe before, when I was younger, I was more like the Dom on the show. But now I don't tolerate anything, like not even like a little slip up I won't tolerate. So I think he's more savage now, but you have to learn. It's like a learning curve. Like you don't know your self-worth and you don't know what you should put up with until you've like been through it and like been stomped on a little bit.
Yeah, I'm curious for even the people listening, like what do you find more attractive? Like in that moment, what would turn you on more, or what would make you reconsider what you're risking?
I think self-awareness and honesty, which maybe you think is like a cop-out answer, but like if someone has like the emotional intelligence and self-awareness to be like, I know if you go on this date, I will forever have a narrative in the back of my mind that like you're always going to be looking for a better option. And I think it would really shake our connection. Like I think if someone could just be really transparent about how they felt versus like, I'm not worried about it, like go on the date, I'll be waiting for you when you come back. Like if it's meant to be with us, this date won't matter. Like I just would want them to be able to communicate and identify like their own actual perspective on it.
I think in the dating show realm, you have to be okay with someone going on another date because that's what we're there to do. Because it would be a really boring show if no one did that. But in the real world, no, unacceptable.
Yeah.
But on a dating show, yeah.
Because like that was a theme on Bachelor in Paradise last season, where a lot of the women were like, no, I want you to not want me to go.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else I'm missing on the perfect match front that we want to ask Francesca before we get into her now current life, her love life? She's in a thriving relationship.
Well, I was curious about how the show had bi women on it and how it sort of like complicated your classic hetero dating show. And so I'm curious, one, if there was anything that wasn't shown, and two, like how you felt that was handled, both like in terms of like your own experience and also how people in the house were making sense of it.
I didn't really watch this episode too much. The little bits that I did see, I think seemed normal. Like, how did it come across? How would you say it came across?
I don't know. I just feel like I so rarely see like bi people.
I know.
So I think just inherently seeing people, I was like, yay.
Yeah, I feel like everyone in the house was very like excited and happy. Overall, I loved like that relationship that I had with her, and it was like the best time. Like it was such a breath of fresh air. I was like, get me out of this house with these stinky men. And the fact that I was with a beautiful woman, I was like, this is just how it was meant to be. Like I just felt like it was just more me, and I'm glad that it happened. It definitely was a little bit of a struggle to make it happen. I was kind of dropping hints a little bit, and production was very happy and willing to accommodate that. So it definitely switched up the whole situation though, because then it made 12 people in the house instead of 10. So we had to take all of our bags out of like the luggage room and move them downstairs into like Nick Lachey's little studio and like use that extra room for sleeping. So it definitely, and like for the challenges, they had to add an extra spot for challenges. So it was definitely a lot of work on their end to make it work, but they made it work. So I was happy about that.
Because I know Damien was very like supportive of you going on a date with a woman, maybe less supportive about you going on a date with someone else, but like the fact that it was a woman didn't seem to be an issue for him. Like I'm curious, in your relationships, ways that partners have made you feel really like supported or embraced with your identity, and ways that partners have kind of like little microaggressions or things that they've done inadvertently that make you feel less comfortable.
I did date. So actually last time I did your podcast, remember I talked about how, I don't know if you remember, you probably don't remember, but I talked about how I dated like an athlete. I was talking about how I just got out of a relationship. Okay. It was like in December, and he was like a professional athlete, and how he was like the worst person ever.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so this person was very insecure about like me even like having girlfriends at that point, because he was like, oh, well, you're attracted to women. So and now I'm skeptical about your women relationships as well.
So basically no friends.
Yeah, he was very,
so like, no guy friends.
Yeah, it was honestly a horrible relationship. Okay. Very controlling with men and women. Like if I was speaking to a friend, he would have been like, well, did you sleep with them? And I'm like, no. But if I like had made out with them, he wasn't comfortable with me talking to them. And I was like, it just doesn't work like that. So that was the only relationship that I was in that wasn't supportive, but everyone else has been amazing. Like usually people are very, like Damien was supportive. I think when I watched a little bit of the episode, he seemed a little bit more upset than I remember him being. He was very happy to match with Inez. He was very happy to just be there in general. So he didn't show me that he was upset at all, but he seemed a little bit upset when I rewatched the episode back. But I was just happy to do it.
I've seen some things people are asking, like the hypocrisy between you being kind of not upset, but like you didn't love the fact that Dom and Savannah were talking and then quickly after went on the date with Damien.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was hypocritical?
I mean, I think I did things that were hypocritical, but Savannah was a snake and she was so rude to me, and she had a boyfriend. So that whole situation was more based on me not liking her. Like if he had talked to anyone else, I wouldn't have cared.
Got you.
And everyone else would have asked me if they could talk to him, and I would have been like, go for it.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that it was her.
So it was less so like trying to track him down. It was just
her.
her.
Yeah. He could go talk to anyone else.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't have cared because I know my self-worth. But it's because I didn't like her and she was shady to me the whole time. And the fact that she had a boyfriend. I was like, what is she just doing this to shade me? She's doing this to be rude. So I'm going to call her out. And obviously I called her out. Could have done it more appropriately. But yeah, it's just the fact that it was her. It could have been anyone else. I wouldn't have cared.
Anyone else show up with a significant other?
Yeah, Chase.
He did in fact have one.
Yeah.
The vacation TikTok girl?
I didn't have physical proof, but a lot of other people were like, I just talked to his girlfriend like last week or something. So
Couple people that we covered previously or had on the show, Shane and Bartise, both polarizing characters.
You had them here?
Shane, not in this particular studio. Bartise was virtual. You know, controversial, polarizing. A lot of people had some strong opinions about them.
Yeah.
I've gotten to know Shane. I quite like Shane. Certainly he has his issues and his flaws, and he's pretty quick to own those.
Yeah.
But I find him to be authentic. Bartise, I know very little about. I'm curious, you can comment on them or other people, but who are the people who you really were drawn to, who feel like maybe were misrepresented on their initial runs, and who maybe were people who might not be as great in person as they maybe came across on TV?
So who got a good edit and who got a bad edit?
Sure, however you want to frame it.
Okay. Well, none of us knew Shane or Bartise really when we went to filming. Shane a little bit because we saw a little bit of Love is Blind, but Bartise went from filming to our show. So we saw like him do like, hey, my name's Bartise. Like, I like this. Like, I would love to come in the house. Like, that's also all we saw was a video.
I was like, I'm sorry for interrupting, but Bartise was like, I'm most famous for like saying no at the altar. I'm like, no, that's not what you're most famous for, Bartise.
I think it's because when he said that, when we filmed, his show wasn't out yet. So he had no idea how it was going to come across.
I'm like, yeah, you're most famous for like being kind of like not self-aware,
and
super
acting
insecure.
like Mother Teresa because you perceived a woman to be below you.
Yeah, super insecure.
Yeah. He did try to like come at me once, and I like shut him down really quick, like negatively. But from what I could see of him hopping around, I didn't know his character, but I was so consumed with what I was doing that I wasn't really focused on what Bartise was doing. But from what he did in the last few episodes, I don't think it's been shown yet. I was like, oh, this dude's savage. But
savage good or savage bad?
Probably bad. I also think Shane is crazy. Like, he is nuts.
Yeah, he's nuts.
And I don't know Shane in person Shane. I know reality TV Shane because I know he was playing up certain things for the show.
Do you think he was playing?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what way? Because
I mean,
I gotta say, in person, I've only known him in person, and he's outrageous.
Yeah, he would say like, "Oh, this is gonna be a good storyline," like.
Sure.
So I was
self-aware.
Self-aware, very self-aware. But he's nuts. He's like, if you cross me, oh, I'm coming for you full force. Like, he's very like intense, and he was intense during filming. Like, it was every time I had a conversation with him, I was like, this guy's a lot.
Guy.
Yeah, like I remember after like the date, I put Chloe on a date. And he I don't know if it was shown, but he came up to me and was like, oh, why'd you do that? And I was like, well, she asked me to put her on the date. So that's why I put her on the date.
Yeah, he's a reactive guy. You need to work on that.
But yeah, that's all I know. I know he's like a lot to handle. So
anyone else that you feel like you want to set the record straight, either good or bad in their favor? Or
I think Damien's a little cringy, but he's a great guy.
Okay.
Overall, good morals. Came across really poor on the reunion, but overall I think he's a great guy, other than he's a little cringy sometimes. The videos he posts are kind of cringy. He needs a social media manager, but everyone else, let me think.
Chase?
No, he's just as shady as...
He's shady, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He DM'd me before we left for filming too, and he was like, I'm coming for you. And I was like, no, no, you're not.
That's aggressive.
Right. You think that that's gonna happen? You're delusional.
Well, even if you thought that, that line was
I think it was
hey.
I think it was a selfie video of him walking on a treadmill, sweating, yeah, Fred, I'm coming for you. And I was like,
ugh.
Delete. Yeah, you could have been hey, I'm really excited to get to know you. I'd love to take you on a date. But it was sweaty treadmill, coming for you. I was like, that's not hot. I don't
that's
want
what
that.
you submit as evidence for a crime.
Yeah.
Where did Francesca go?
And I think certain people got certain bad edits on their show. And I don't know. I feel like everyone was kind of the same mostly.
I feel like you don't even have to answer this. I'm just going to say it.
Okay.
You can respond however you want. In the scene where you walked, and you probably wouldn't even know the answer, because it was the moment you walked in with Damien.
Okay.
Carousel and Joey were making out hard on the couch, and as soon as you walked in, she did like a jump scare, immediately stopped making out with him, and then Joey's like, do I have something on my lips? And I think that entire scene was staged. Like, they knew you were about to walk in, and they like, how about you guys make out and do a hard make out, and then she's just gonna like,
I don't know,
completely pivot. It was. I feel like that was an insanely staged scene, but that's just my read.
Certain things, they would place us in certain areas if someone was walking in. Sometimes they would just walk in and we had no idea that they were walking in. So because I was the one walking in, I don't know if they knew that we were coming or not. So it could have been.
Okay.
They were hot and cold the whole time. Like, they were either hated each other or loved each other. So if they were heavily making out, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Let's talk about your love life now.
Okay.
Jesse.
Yeah.
You seem really in love.
Yeah. Yeah.
How'd you guys meet?
I interviewed him for TikTok Pride 2 years ago this summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the interview about?
I was hired to host like a TikTok live Pride event. So I interviewed 3 trailblazers who were doing really well in the queer community on TikTok. Jesse was the third person that I interviewed. So. And
then what happened?
We met over Zoom, and then we like just instantly, like during the Zoom, we're like gravitating towards each other. Like the whole time we were just staring at each other. So I DM'd him after, and I was like, hey, what's up? And then we like DM'd back and forth. He gave me his number, and then we basically like FaceTimed and talked on the phone like almost every single day before I got back to LA. So we just hit it off. And I remember right after the Zoom, like I got off the Zoom and I was running around the house, and I was like, this is going to be my new boyfriend. Like I knew it right away. So when I got back to LA, we started dating right away, and then I got deported, basically. So I got stuck in Canada for 4 months, and then so we broke up. And then during this time when we broke up is when I started dating that loser athlete who we hate.
Okay.
I just talked about. And then I ended that with him, and then I got back. That's when I did your podcast, and then me and Jesse started talking again. We remained friends, but at that point I knew I was leaving to film Perfect Match. So I left for filming, and then right when I got back, I hit him up and I was like, hey, are you still single? So we just reconnected right after the show.
What is your favorite thing about the relationship?
How easy it is, how loving we are, and how just it's so easy. It's like, I think we've argued maybe 2 or 3 times in the past like year and a half that we've known each other. We're very understanding. We're very sympathetic towards each other and empathetic. And it's just the easiest thing. Like we understand each other. We agree on everything. Yeah, it's just like there's not one negative thing that I could say about the relationship at all.
What's one thing that, because every relationship needs to continue to work on themselves and there's always areas of improvement. What is something that you think you guys could do a better job of? You know, what is something you guys are working towards? Do you guys ever check in with each other and saying, hey, you know, like we got a little careless here. Let's focus on this. Or do you guys have those conversations?
Maybe spending less money on Uber Eats.
Okay.
Or I think there's sometimes that I could be more empathetic towards him because I get really carried up in things that I'm doing, and I forget to remember like he has a lot going on too, and to like be empathetic towards him as well, because I'll get like so like busy that I forget to like check on him sometimes. But other than that, like towards me, nothing. I can't think of one thing I would change about him. But for me, I would probably just be more empathetic.
Yeah, it's not even changing about him or you. It's just like the relationship itself.
Relationships
areas and where you guys think you could always be more connected. How could you guys connect more, or how could you, you know, work through conflict or things like that?
Yeah, honestly, we don't have conflict ever. Is that might be a bad thing? It's just
it's not a bad thing, but it's just more like what eventually you will.
If there's things that come up that are issues, we just talk about it and we get over it, and we're very like understanding, and we calm each other down. We hug each other and kiss each other, and we get over it like so quick. Like if there's anything that we do that upset the other person, we just bring it up like in a very calm, sweet manner, and it's resolved in like 5 seconds.
We have texting office hours coming up, and I'm going to ask you a question, and then you're going to answer it after texting office hours as like a nice little tease. But on my proposal video with Natalie,
I saw that, by the way. Congrats. I sent it to my boyfriend, and I was like,
well,
hey.
you commented something like, you mentioned him and said take notes, and my question to you is an engagement on the horizon. So I want to discuss your future with Jesse, what it looks like. How soon can we expect a proposal? What does that look like? What's your perfect wedding? All those hard-hitting questions right after texting office hours. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. How old are you?
I'm 27 years old, and I was recently at a basketball game, met my friend's coworker, and I received the most unhinged text that I have no clue how to respond to.
Okay. And I'm assuming this is the text message that we have. Okay. Before we read this text message, just set the stage. How did you meet? What was the vibe? Were you excited?
What was the banter about?
Bring us into the room, like imagine there's some like sexy rom-com music playing.
So typically I'm like an online app dater.
Okay.
But I actually hate the app. So I was so excited. This was like an IRL, connection. My friend brought me to a work event, and she was introducing me to her coworker. We had box seats at the Lakers game, and we were hanging out in the box. Lots of champagne, lots of food, lots of booze. And there was this really attractive guy sitting in the corner. And I asked my friend who that is, and she tells me it's her coworker and tries to set us up. He was 14 years older than me. So he was 40.
Is he dead?
I'm 27. And then ultimately led me to him.
All right.
I felt like he was very mature, very attractive. I really liked that.
Okay. But he's still 14 years older than you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I love that part of it.
Okay. And then, so you left, you exchanged numbers, obviously?
Yeah. So at the game, we were talking a lot at the game. We even talked about our zodiac signs. So I'm an Aries, he's a Cancer. We're opposites completely, fire and water.
Oh, yikes.
The two opposites.
Okay.
So we talked about how those didn't mesh.
Okay. And then you're like, but we're still hot for each other. Let's exchange numbers. Kind of like, how'd that go?
Yeah. So we actually made out in a boxy at the game. And there was definitely chemistry there.
Putting the signs to the test. Yeah.
At the work event. We made out at the work event.
Is it your work event or your friend's work event?
My friend's work event.
Yeah, so she didn't give a shit. I mean, it's maybe his problem, but whatevs. Yeah. All right, so.
Yeah. So, it was great. To be honest with you, had he not sent said text, which we'll go into, I'm sure, I would have probably been down to see him again.
Okay. So you make out, you exchange numbers, you leave, and then, was that a Friday night?
It was a Friday night.
Okay, because I have a Saturday at 4:01 p.m. This gentleman wrote you, "Hi, Debbie. Hope your night was good. It was great seeing you yesterday. Not boring at all. Despite our signs, there was some kind of connection. Maybe opposites do attract. The chemistry and sparks were definitely there. Honesty and transparency." I feel like he meant honestly. But anyways, honesty and transparency, ... You are gorgeous and I'm attracted to you. You have a hot figure, pretty face, and the sexiest eyes.
He did use an Oxford comma.
Uh-huh, yeah. Hot figure. Okay.
Sounds like an accountant.
Sounds like a 50-year-old.
Yeah, it sounds like he's 75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dear Debbie, stop. The war is fine.
Stop.
When you're interested in a passionate...
What?
Tryst?
Tryst.
What is a tryst?
It's a fun little woohoo.
Like a fling.
It's a tryst.
Hey, he's 75.
Stop.
Yeah.
When you are interested in a passionate tryst or romance and to experience all the touch and affirmation, I'm here for that. ... I want you. In a separate text.
The way you're
immediately
reading this is
followed.
so funny.
Hit me up anytime. I'd love to see you again, whether for a day or more regularly. Enjoy the weekend. Actually, I added in the he had no exclamation point.
Yeah,
it was
there's
more
no.
enjoy the weekend. Yeah.
You should read books for a living.
Debbie.
If you ever stop doing podcasts, you should read books.
Well,
audiobooks.
Sleep Story.
You
can hear me.
You're doing that?
I did it 5 years ago.
That makes sense.
Sleeping Beauty.
That makes sense.
It's more weird than Unhinged. It's a little awkward.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's fireable. He's a goofy guy.
What was his like verbal rapport like? Like, does this make sense that maybe if he tried to type something out, it'd be a little bit more formal?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like the person you met and made out with, like, was he a little because this is like kind of quirky and more, trying to be a little different. And
when I first read it, I was like, what the hell? I was so cringed out. But then reading it again, I was like, okay, wait, like, yeah, he's just kind of awkward, kind of nerdy. He's 40, but he does sound like he's more on the 60, like with the way he texts. But that's a good thing. That means he's not on his phone a lot. He probably isn't on TikTok, which is good. He seems like mature, kind of weird.
I want you strong.
He's letting you know that he wants you. I think that's a plus. Like, he knows what he wants.
You like that?
Yeah, I think he knows what he wants. He's letting you know.
How did it make you feel when you read it?
So I was super weirded out from the text, but I felt like in person we had this vibe that I totally would have hung out with him again. That's kind of the part I'm hung up on. And I really hate ghosting people. Like, I just hate the world of online dating and ghosting.
So this was like 4 days ago?
This was a week ago now. So now I need to figure out if I need to respond to this guy.
We're on 10 days-ish, so to speak.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it just gone?
Not necessarily.
No. Any ghosts can always come back.
He said when you're interested in a passionate tryst. So
would you be interested in just going on another date and seeing if because I feel like we have 2 data points. We have the game, which was super fun and you enjoyed your time. We then have the text that was like oddly formal and very long and probably made you feel overwhelmed. So are you willing to go on a date to see which of those 2 data points are actually the truth?
Yeah, I feel like I'm down to go out again, but my friends are telling me I should not go out with him again because of how he'll maybe act. And he seemed very...
The friend who set you up or other friends?
Other friends.
Okay, friends who haven't met him, who don't know him at all. They're just basing it solely on this text.
Yeah, which I think is, like you said, unhinged.
It's a little intense. It's more weird than unhinged in my book.
Yeah,
he's just a little awkward.
Age is something to consider.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, he's 40, he's not 90.
I know, but...
I mean, it's
could be like an
I mean, if the I want you wasn't in there, I know Francesca kind of likes it, but like you were already uncomfortable reading it, and then he hit you with the I want you, like in maybe a different form, in a different context. It's just awkward. It's just weird.
Well, it's like all these things we expect people to like imply through subtext. He's just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which we all love a good communicator.
And the funny thing is, I'm typically an over communicator. I usually over text. So the fact I'm creeped out by this says a lot.
Why don't you ask the people that know him that work with him?
Yeah.
So my friend who introduced me to him, like, talks very highly of him and thinks I should give it a shot. But then she did agree that this behavior with this text was kind of, she doesn't know him in his romantic category. Yeah. She knows him as a coworker.
But I would trust that more than a friend who wasn't there at the game, who doesn't have experience with him. Because this text by itself, very different data point. But we do have the game to rely on. And this other friend's recommendation.
It's also text. And it's just, text is a terrible form of communication. It just is. It is not how you get someone to know you, or your sarcasm, or your personality. And you are reading this text almost certainly in a very different way than he intended it. His intention was to be upfront and forward.
Honesty and transparency.
And let you know that he is interested in you. And unlike most fuckboys who would have waited 3 fucking days and kind of be like, yeah, we should go out sometime. And then you could be like, oh, cool, he wants to go out with me sometime. And then 4 more days go by. And you're like sometime this year. So he went hard to the paint, and he didn't nail it. You know what I'm saying? He kind of stumbled. He drove hard to the paint and kind of tripped over his own feet as he went up for the layup.
I feel like he wrote this like a Carrie Bradshaw monologue in Sex and the City.
Some things could have been left out.
Could you FaceTime him out of the blue? And I'm certain he'll answer. And then you go, can we address your text? And just see if he has a sense of humor. Be like, that was forward. Let's talk about it. Are you the water or are you the fire?
I'm the fire.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know much about
science. Did he text you again after this?
No, so this was it. And then I just have been ghosting since.
That's a green flag, though.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't power text you again saying
I totally agree, because if he had said any follow-up to that, it's like, all right, this guy's he doesn't know when to chill off or back off. He went for it, but like he got no response. He let it go. He hasn't been like hitting you up or stalking you or like pressuring. It's just, he just kind of fucked up here. I don't know. All I'm saying is we have no idea who this guy is, other than maybe he's just a little awkward and doesn't have good game. That's all. But he could be a wonderful lover, a high character guy. Like, we literally don't know. Like, this tells me nothing about who he would be as a partner, other than you can anticipate someone has a less game and a little nerdy and kind of forward. Who knows? But maybe he's a wonderful person and a compassionate person and kind and good to people and generous. I don't know. Maybe he's an asshole.
He doesn't seem like an asshole to me.
So if you are in any way interested and you did have a good time in his presence, I think that holds more weight than a one-off kind of text opener where maybe he was feeling a little excited and whatever. For all you know, he has since read this text after you have not responded, shared it with a buddy or two, and is feeling just horrible about it. You don't know. I don't know. Maybe he hasn't thought about it at all.
So this isn't enough of a red flag, you're saying?
I don't think so.
Completely.
I think we can call it a red flag, something to pay attention to, Now, I think it'd be kind of funny if you FaceTime him and just kind of playfully be like, can we address your text? First of all, what is a tryst? Just say that. And like, you want me? My hot figure, what are you, 70? I need to be playful. I don't know. Or are you going to say, can we address your text and see what he has to say?
But I also think make sure to vocalize like the bits that you appreciate. Be like, I really appreciate that you were honest and open and like to make sure, I feel like to underline.
Be playful. Down. Be playful. And just see if he plays back. And be like, yeah, I don't know. I was a little, because if someone's like, yeah, if you're playful to him with a couple like notes and you're not making it seem like he's weird or stupid or creepy, he should just be like, yeah, I probably didn't nail that one, but I'm glad you called. Or it could be something like that. I don't know. But I think the safest way and the one that takes the least amount of investment where you can get the most amount of information is to FaceTime him. I don't think you should text him about this, poor communication. And maybe you don't feel comfortable meeting him in person and going on a date and getting all dressed up. And I would totally understand that. So if you're trying to find a middle ground, just FaceTime him and get on the phone with him, have a mini FaceTime date, and then see how you feel about him afterwards. You don't have to commit to anything on a FaceTime date. You don't have to, you could just be like, well, it was good talking to you. Like, I'm busy this weekend, but like maybe we give him the whole, maybe we can hang out next week. And then you can always just like change your mind. And then you can send him a text being like, hey, I just thought about it. Like, I'm just not in the right time or like some bullshit or whatever. Or you could, or it could go really well and be like, you know what? What are you doing this weekend? Like you're committing to nothing by FaceTiming him.
I also think something to keep in mind is like, I think if I were in your shoes and I'd like showed this message to all my friends and like we were all like laughing about it, like there would be a part of me that would be like, oh, if I pursue this, like this, like there's almost like a level of like kind of like embarrassment or just like, well, what are they going to think about it? Like we've already kind of like my friends and I have already like gone off on how like ridiculous this was. And so I also just would advise you to be like, I feel like online dating prioritizes aloofness and rewards like being unattached and uninvolved and like chill to a fault. And I think this message is the opposite of that. And there's other things about it that are genuine, like, oh, hold on there. But I would like make sure you're not judging yourself too much because of like any kind of like internalized previous interactions you may have had surrounding this man.
I am curious what he means by when you're interested in a passionate tryst or romance and to experience all the touch and affirmation, I'm here for that. I would literally just be like, what do you mean?
He's listing two different things.
That's the worst
because
part
a passionate tryst is like a private moment between lovers, and then he throws in relationships. So I'm like, sir, I mean, he's down for anything. It's whatever you want.
I really think you call him out of the blue, FaceTime him with high energy. Like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? Like, sorry, I've been kind of busy the past couple of days. Like, by the way, like, I had a really nice time with you at the game. That was a lot of fun. I haven't had a time like that in a while. Like, that was great. Like, that's how you open up. And then you're just kind of like, I do want to discuss your text for a second. and again, playfully, and just be like, what was up with, that was a lot. You sent me a lot. And then you just kind of playfully be like, all right, and by the way, my most curious, like, what did you mean by this? I don't even know what a tryst is. And like, just see where he goes with that. I think it could be fun.
Just to cover all the bases here, let's say he doesn't answer because he's like occupied, but like sends you a follow-up message being like, hey, saw you called, what's up? What do we think the text response to that should be? Like, just like, hey, FaceTime me whenever you get the chance.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Little smiley face.
Perfect.
Or no?
Yeah.
Just checking in, wanted to discuss your day.
No, yeah. I think some version of Amanda is like, oh, yeah, just wanted to say hi. Call me back when you're free.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When
You
you
immediately seem different than any other woman he's ever talked to in LA. Because everyone's just afraid of like face-to-face conversation. Everyone's just like texting, like they don't know how to talk to people.
I'm one of those people, so
I mean, it's
I get
okay,
it.
yeah. But you will come across as different.
keep us posted.
Yeah, when are you going to do it?
Do it today.
Honestly, after this,
Yeah, yay!
Yes.
Wait, is there any
Unless-
chance he's
does
at
he
work?
work?
Is he working,
Yeah.
or we want set yourself up for success?
he works in consulting, so probably like, 9 to 5,
Yeah,
9
so-
to 9.
I would
So
wait till
wait
tonight.
till tonight.
Yeah.
Call him like on
Okay.
like 5:30, 6 o'clock. Drive time,
Maybe I'll order some John and Vinny's and
Love that.
Some wine.
Love
and
that.
FaceTime.
Yeah,
Hell
liquid
yeah.
courage.
Yeah. Thanks so much for calling. Let us know what happens. Very exciting stuff. And who knows? Could be your person. Probably not, but
Good luck.
Could be.
He
Thank
could
you.
be. Yeah.
was he a good kisser?
Yes. I mean, we
That's
would not be
amazing.
having this conversation,
Yeah.
right? If he wasn't.
And that matters so much more
Yeah.
than just like some awkward text,
Mhm.
I don't
Agreed.
know. All right, we're excited for your update. Good luck tonight.
Good luck.
Have fun. Remember, high energy, compliment, then ask them.
Perfect.
All right.
I'll report back.
All right,
Okay.
sounds good. All right, take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
So you and Jesse, when are we getting engaged? Is he the one? Is he it?
He's definitely the one.
He's definitely the one.
100%. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. 100%.
Are we going to get engaged soon? Do
I
you-
wanted to be engaged like yesterday.
Yesterday? Okay.
We were because it
So
was
the clock's ticking for Jesse.
it was originally going to be like a huge surprise. Like the ring was going to be a surprise. The day was going to be a surprise. But I was like, I kind of want to like have a say in the design, and I
You're a
kind of
particular person.
I kind of want to like know ish when it's going to be around. So we were like, okay, like maybe I'll know like the month, and then we had kind of a day that he was thinking about doing it, and then all the show drama happened. So we're waiting until after that blows over, and then hopefully, like maybe March.
Marchish.
Yeah,
Okay.
end of March. I'm hoping. For.
What's your engagement? How would you like to be proposed to?
Honestly, at this point, I'll take like anything.
Anything.
Anything, I'll take it.
So I'll walk on the beach?
I just want to be engaged. Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. I know he's going to go all out though. Like I know him, and he's going to do something super
Would you really be
extravagant.
happy with anything?
Yeah, I would. I don't
Okay.
care how he could do it in the shower. I wouldn't even care.
Okay.
It's not even how he does it. Like I see really cute proposals and I'm like, oh my God, that's so cute. But like when I really think about it, like I don't need something extravagant. Like I just want to be engaged to him. And that's all. So that's all that matters to me.
What do you think your marriage would look like? Are you gonna be young married couple traveling? Are you gonna start family planning?
Yeah.
What do your kids on the horizon for you?
So originally we just wanted to be engaged for a year and then be married and travel for 2 years and then start having kids.
Okay.
That was our original plan. But I have since changed my mind and he's changed his mind as well. We decided that we want to start having kids right away.
Okay. Well,
And then we'll just
what changed?
get a nanny and bring the nanny with us when we travel.
Obviously.
Yeah. I think I've kind of traveled everywhere already. Like I've seen it and I've done the whole traveling thing and I know what it's like. And he hasn't. He had a kid when he was 17. So he
Oh
spent
shit.
his whole up until like
How old is
his
he now?
first time. He's 33. His
So
first time
he's got
leaving
a
the country.
teenage
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, they're 14.
Wow.
His first time leaving the country was to come see me in Canada. He didn't even have a passport. So he's only been like some places in the US and Canada. So he wants to see the world, but that's very accomplishable with children. And it's going to be a process for us to have kids. So I want to start soon so we can get the eggs, get this, put it together, get it in the oven. It's going to be like a huge thing. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right.
So we have to plan it. So I just want babies now. I'm
What can-
like super at that, like, I don't know. I think it's like biology. I'm just like, babies,
Yeah.
you know?
And
I know
almost like nesting, but emotionally.
Yeah. Like I'm on marriage TikTok. I'm on baby TikTok. So all I see every day is like engagement rings and weddings and babies. And I'm like, I'm just ready for it. Like I've lived, you know? So I'm ready to like.
You're ready for that next chapter.
Yeah, for sure.
Francesca, this has been a ton of fun. I
Thank
appreciate you sharing and talking and coming back on. It's always great to see you. Do you want to leave our audience with any final thoughts?
Don't believe everything you see on TV, kids.
Okay. All right. And also, where can they all follow you?
Francesca Farago, Farago the Label on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Francesca. It's always great to talk with you. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to send in those questions at asknick@theviallfiles.com. Don't forget we have another episode of Better Date Than Never tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be wild and fun. We talked a lot about sex last week, and we'll probably keep doing it. That seemed to be very popular when it comes to sex and dating.
I love that.
And we'll have Francesca pick the custom cocktail. So to have that revealed.
Yeah, what's our custom cocktail?
Wait, no, we'll reveal it on the show.
Oh, okay, sure. Don't say it. Also, don't forget we have another update special dropping tomorrow for all the people who love all the great Ask Nick updates and Texting Hours updates. That drops tomorrow. Check it out. Tell your friends. Share with your friends. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.